Today we're going to talk about the wind. We're out here on the range and we want to start looking at the lessons moving forward as how to better prepare ourselves for the future. We want each lesson to build on the next, and we want to be able to engage in perfect practice. Okay, now is about putting that plan into action. We have our rifle, 308 shooting 175 grain Sierra Match Kings, Nightforce scope, mil. So if we know that there's two things that we need to worry about, range and wind, to make the shot on top of our fundamentals, well, what we have to look at is how do we exactly dope the wind? What are we going to do so we're not just out here on the range noodling around, doing a trial and error sort of method? We want to have perfect practice. We want to make sure that our methods to engage the wind are going to yield us not only results on target, but results we can use moving forward. Here's the learning opportunity. We marked our first group. Just off that 3 o'clock of the center bullseye, it has that little hole right there. We know that we used the dope 1.3, and then we used 0.4 for the wind. So that was shot group 1. Now we'll go to 2, and we're going to drop the wind down 1/10. There's going to be a theme running through these lessons, and that theme is prior proper planning. Well, you should not be trying to figure out a wind formula on the range. The time to figure a wind formula is back home. There shouldn't be any longhand math taking place in on the range, in the field, during a competition, or worse, if your life depends on it. If you have to break out a pad and pencil or a calculator to do longhand math, chances are you're going to miss, and you didn't do the work you needed to ahead of time. We have everything marked, we've adjusted our dope now, and we have a plan, and we're going to stick with our plan. We can see our wind is averaging about 7.6, 7 miles an hour right now. So we may find that 0.3 is not going to be quite enough, but then again, it may be enough. We're here at higher elevation, so we tend to see that the bullet works a little bit better. So with our plan, we'll make the adjustment and we'll send our rounds downrange. So what are the benefits of having a plan and sticking to it? We shot our first group, 0.4. We adjusted 1/10, 0.3. Now, our second round, we heard the wind go up. We heard the impeller on the Kestrel get louder, and we know, which could account for our round right here being number 2. So we put 2 together when that wind stayed at roughly 7.5 to 8 miles an hour. When the wind increased to that 10, 11, we see that it moved over approximately that 1/10, like the ballistic software showed that it would. We knew the high, the low, and the average wind, and we were able to account for that. Wind coming from this way, using a target, having a fine aiming point, and then having a plan and sticking with it is key to making sure you're going to hit the target and you're going to put it where you want. Now we can record in our data book that on this day, with an average speed of 7.5 to 8 miles an hour, we used 0.3 for the wind, and 0.3 is right. So when you see this again, data on previous engagement, you know 0.3 is good. Then you can go back with your ballistic program, and you may want to adjust it, make sure everything is right elevation-wise, make sure everything is right windage-wise, and that's going to help true that software up by looking at this. When you put a target like this, that gives you something you can act on instead of just one central point, that acting on the hostage head that's coming from the downwind side. If the wind was coming from the other direction, we would have engaged the other one. Helps us out, puts something mental in our mind that we can look at. These targets were designed for a reason, and now you get to see what that reason is.